For more on the growth of digital health, let's bring in Eric Schiffer. He's the tech expert and CEO of Patriarch Equity. These segments just make me feel a little lazy sometimes, but we're going to go for it here. Apple has a lot of interest in all these products as well. What are they doing?
Well, I think Apple is leading in many different ways, certainly with the watch, and they're encouraging this ecosystem where you're going to see a tremendous amount of health-related solutions. This is the time for digital health. There's no question. It's still in its infancy. There's going to be tremendous advantages in terms of cost savings and really people being able to live a better quality of life without having to spend hours in the waiting room and hours with doctors, which is a great thing. And it will also motivate. It'll motivate people that may feel lazy to actually go into the gym, to want to work out, to want to have a better quality of life.
So here's how I kind of envision all this happening, right? Right now they can see your heartbeat and they can see how many steps you take and to work and so on. At some point, they're going to be able to track if you have a heart attack or a stroke, and they can call 911 or call the emergency services and basically be kind of your guardian angel at some point, right?
Yeah, there's that potential as well. There's also the potential to see how you could live a better daily existence overall. So you'll have people that will come in and be able to, through algorithms, tell you how to improve the quality of what you do during the day and how that could expand to your health. And certainly, obviously, like you said, be a digital guardian angel. Yeah. These are great advances, but we need to recognize as well that with them comes some privacy loss, with them comes some responsibility that we still need to be sure that we're not relying entirely on technology. These apps are great at diagnosing, but they're not doctors. And some people put a little too much faith and can end up creating a ton of diseases that aren't real and a ton of anxiety that may not be good for them. So keep it in perspective.
You mean it will just scare the living daylights out of you? I like the part where you were talking about how it would tell you to go be more healthy and eat right and do this. It's basically like a wife, basically, that tells you what you're eating wrong in terms of health-wise. Now, and about China, the growth potential, because you said it's in its infancy, right? How big could this all become?
Well, China is in a renaissance in terms of fitness, as we know, and health, which is wonderful. And we're just beginning to see the early stages of this with tremendous gym signups, memberships, a much greater interest in healthy foods and fitness overall. And they're looking now to apps. So there are a fair amount of apps that have been really big sellers in China. Wearable technologies will continue to get big. The market, as we know, is phenomenal in terms of size. We're also seeing this as well in India. So that's another big market for these players. Xiaomi is a big player. They're going to be able to go head on head with Fitbit, which is one of the big players in the US. And I think they will do very well because of the pricing and the fact that it is so beloved in China as a company.
So here's some concerns that were brought up in our editorial meeting today. What about privacy? I mean, how much information, health information as well, by the way, also where you are at any given minute of the day, how much information do you really want to give, number one, your company or your health insurance company or anybody for that matter?
Well, I think what will happen is much of the information will likely be put and stripped of your personal data. So you'll have information that will get downloaded in terms of what you do during the day, but it will likely find a way to be put into some kind of a safe harbor or an escrow account where insurers won't necessarily be able to connect the dots. So you'll have some control over this, but let's not kid ourselves. This is data, it's metadata and some direct data that could be used against you at some point. So you'll want to consider how much you really want to share with your employer, how much you really want to put online, and put it into perspective. Data can be used in a positive way, but it certainly can be used against you. So be aware of the data policies of the applications you're using. Be aware of the data policies of the wearables,
exactly.
And put it in perspective.
Yeah, they're gonna know you're 5 minutes late to work immediately within like a second. Let's get to the health part of this just very quickly. This is all supposed to be good because it's supposed to make all of us healthier. Is that the case?
I think it really depends on the individual. I think if you have an individual who may not be as motivated and they're looking for feedback, they're looking for some way to track, they're looking to do this with friends online, then absolutely. If you have someone who may not be that motivated in terms of finding out the best ways to diet or the best techniques for training, then absolutely. But if you have a pretty motivated guy, like I'm a motivated trainer, I train on a weekly basis, I eat well. This is not something for me, but I'm not the average person. So I think if you're just learning, if you're just getting into it, or you're not that intrinsically motivated, this can really help make a difference.
All right, Eric, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving to you there in Los Angeles.